Welcome back to the React Room. I'm your boy Dom K. I'm back in here solo dolo again today. Another day, another guide, another video. We've been doing a lot of guides lately, man. You know the reason we've been doing guides is just because, like I said, man, while I'm by myself for this long period of time, like I said, man, I'm just trying to learn. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to get a better knowledge. Any Joe Schmo, when I say Joe Schmo, I mean anybody can listen to music and just say, yeah, I like it, or yeah, I don't. Not a lot of people can analyze. Not a lot of people can tell you why they like it. And not a lot of people can tell you the differences between that and other music. They just like, oh, I like this. But not a lot of people either want to actually deep dive into anybody to listen to. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, it's not like that I'm just doing a bunch of BTS guys only because it's BTS. I haven't seen any of these other guys. Like I said, all the other groups that I'm doing have like people dedicated to put these type of guides out there. Like the guys I see for other groups, they're not very detailed. Girls too. Like I said, I don't want to comment anybody particular because I don't want to make anybody mad or make any groups feel a certain type of way. But like the BTS groups in the army, they're so dedicated. They take the time to make these things for free. Like it's very detailed, very informative, like I said in the last video. But when I watch the other groups, it's just like they'll clip together, oh, the behind the scenes of them making a song, oh, talking about it. And then they'll play the whole song in the video. And then they'll play, oh, what they said right after it came out. That's not a guide. That's just you clipping together stuff talking about, this, what BoraCity does, that's a guide. It's 25 to 40 minutes, sometimes a little under an hour, all different videos, all different thoughts, all different programs. Every now and then you might have a clip that run into the same thing, like maybe like the top moments versus some other stuff she showed in other videos, but it's very rare. It's like 1%. Everything is always fresh and new to me. I just wish I could do the same for other groups, but hey, I'm gonna only do what I can. So we've gotten to so many guides by now. Like I think we're on like 9 guides, maybe 10. I have to go back and check. I'm gonna go back and check and get the exact number for you guys. But man, like I said, you learn so much and you grow. And like the last one we did was moments for the history books, the top 30 moments that we did put together. And there was some crazy stuff in there. Like I knew about some of them, but a lot of that stuff I didn't know. And again, man, it's just good stuff, man. Just good stuff, good informative stuff. And like I said, the reason I'm getting more into the guides is because the guys are coming home really, really soon. I don't know if y'all guys were watching. Time is a-clicking. I remember when I just started this, January the 8th. I'll never forget when I started it. And the first video we did was XG. And it took off. And then we did another XG. And then we did a BTS, I believe. When we did that BTS video, that's when I started to learn. And I went to other things. And someone said, oh, check out the guide. And I remember when I checked out the guide, someone commented, you should really do more of these because the guys are coming home. And I'm like, whoa, guys are coming home? What do you mean? I didn't even know they were gone. And that's when you found out about it. But that was January. And like I said, they're coming home this summer. And blink your eyes, we're in April. Are we in April? Let me make sure. Let me double down on that. You know me, man. Sometimes y'all like, gotta make sure. I be working so much. Yeah, April the 9th. Look, that's crazy. We do so many videos, man. I be forgetting what day it is. And we a week away from my birthday. I forgot to tell y'all that. We a week away from my birthday, April the 16th. It's crazy, 1 week from today. And you know what's even crazier about it? I'm working on my birthday, man. I'm gonna put out a video on my birthday. I might put out 2 videos on my birthday. And you guys know, man, like, man, look, we working every day. I'm gonna enjoy it with my family. I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna have a great time. But I'm gonna get these videos out, even if it takes me, if I gotta wake up at 6 in the morning and do them. We're gonna get these videos out. We're gonna go a month straight every day. I told you, like, we're gonna do that 30-day again. We're gonna get back to grinding. We're gonna get back to working. We're gonna find new ways and new content to put out, and we're gonna do our thing. And that's just the way it's gonna be. So with that being said, BTS paved the way. Why is it so hard to accept it? I don't know why it's so hard. You know why? It's hard to accept greatness. People never want to accept greatness. People never can handle greatness. They appreciate it and they love it when it's no longer there. That's why people appreciate you when you're dead. People appreciate you when you're not alive. I think people appreciate BTS more that they're not here and they're not getting the consistent photos and visuals and content and lives and music that they was once getting. So they put out a bunch of stuff, they recorded a bunch of stuff and they had it while they were gone. And it's just like, you're fiending for it, you want it, you wish you had it because you feel like I took advantage of it when it was here and now it's not here, I don't know what to do. I can just go back to the old memories and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's why it's so hard to accept, because when it's right in front of your face and you have the chance, you want to downplay it. Not the Army in particular, but just people in general. Like, it's the same way in sports. It's the same way in any genre of music. Again, like I can give you some controversial figures. You look at someone like a rapper like Tupac. When he was here, people was like, oh, the gangster rap and blah, blah, blah. When he died, like, oh my God, I can't. Just look at anybody who's gone and passed. Like, their music always does 600% more streams when they're gone. Just look at basketball. Like, I think people took advantage when Michael Jordan was around. They took advantage when Kobe was around. Now they're taking advantage of when LeBron's around. It's always the same way. The same way with these guys, same way with Michael Jackson. You're gonna appreciate it more when it's no longer available and you realize the replacements aren't as good. So with that being said, I have no idea how they paved the way. Why is it so hard to accept? And I'm pretty sure I know if it's one person who's gonna tell me, it's gonna be BoraCity. So with that being said, let's get into it. BTS paved the way. Why is it so hard to accept it? Tell me.
BTS paved the way for K-pop. It is a fact, but also a controversial thing to say. So how is it that there is so much disagreement? First of all, I think we all need to make sure we're talking about the same thing first. Paving the way simply means making it easier for something to happen or someone to do something. Paving the way doesn't mean inventing something. You are not building the road from scratch. You're just paving a road which is very hard to walk through, making it easier for others to walk behind you. So when we say BTS paved the way, we don't mean that BTS invented K-pop or entered the global music market first. We just mean that BTS made it easier for K-pop acts to enter the global music market. K-pop was a growing interest before BTS, but it was still a very niche thing. Now, however, K-pop is part of conversations about pop culture because BTS are mainstream. It was only after BTS entered the Billboard charts when Billboard created charts only for K-pop. It was only after BTS started winning Western award shows when Western award shows created K-pop categories. It was only after BTS won their first American award for top social artist when K-pop acts opened Twitter accounts because BTS were nominated for their Twitter engagement. It was only after BTS debuted in American television when K-pop acts started being invited to American television. It was only after BTS started getting Grammy nominations when K-pop acts started submitting their songs to the Grammys. It was only after BTS's fandom requested to have their albums on stores like Target when K-pop started selling their albums in stores like Target. It was only after BTS became the biggest group in the world when K-pop groups had the opportunity to sign with American labels. BTS paved the way because without them, K-pop would have remained a niche interest and wouldn't have the global platform they have today thanks to BTS. So what are the arguments against the phrase BTS paved the way? First is that the second generation paved the way. For more context, we need to understand that K-pop has different generations. The first generation came around the 1990s and is composed of artists like Seo Taiji, who basically invented K-pop by introducing American music styles and music equipment to South Korea. And entertainment agencies were inspired by the Japanese.
Okay, just a quick into the intro. I mean, I can say that's true. Most of what she said, really all of what she said is true. The first K-pop group I've ever heard of, don't get me wrong, all of these groups were around. You see them on TV, the Wendy Williams show, but I'm gonna be honest. When people saw stuff like that, I'm just giving you the vibe of hip hop culture from what I saw. We thought of K-pop as a real like anime girl or boy band group that was just like singing like techno type pop music that was just like with funny voices. We never really saw groups like in those, and they didn't market those episodes that those guys aired like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. The first time I really heard of K-pop groups was really BTS. That was the first time I've ever heard. I'll tell you, like, I didn't say that I never heard of them. I said I never listened to their music. I didn't know what they was about. I heard of BTS in like 2011, 2012. I heard the name, and then that was the first. They was like, oh, this is a K-pop group. That was the first group I ever learned their name, but I didn't know. I just heard BTS. I didn't know what it was, but I didn't really pay it any mind either. But I think that's what she's saying. Like, this was the first global group. Don't get me wrong. They had people who came before, like the guy who had the biggest song. I think his name was Psy. He had the big song, but like no one really knew who these people were. They knew they had big songs. They knew that they were famous in their country, but no one really paid attention. I would say BTS is the first group that really people paid attention to. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and I love Blackpink, but as big as Blackpink is, I don't think a lot of people, I think if you go to the average fan of pop and hip hop and culture in America and you ask them who is, a lot of people going to know who BTS. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying that because of this channel. A lot of people right now today will tell you they know who BTS are. I don't think there's a ton of people who know who Blackpink, Stray Kids, 17, EXO. I don't think a lot of people know who they are. I'm just be honest. In America, that's not saying worldwide because they probably have big fandoms, but I'm just telling you, like, if I go to any school and I'd be like, yo, high school, college, I'm like, yo, you know who? I'm almost positive that the majority won't know who they are. But if you go ask who BTS is, they're gonna be like, yeah, that's it's the boy pop group, right? Even if they don't know the music, they're gonna be like, yeah, I know that's the guys, it's the famous guys.
Idol industry to create the K-pop idol training system, in which singers train for years to debut in a group. The second generation started around the early 2000s, and it was when K-pop became known as a niche interest in countries outside of South Korea. The third generation is K-pop slowly entering the global music market. BTS is part of this generation. The fourth generation starts in 2017, after BTS became the most popular group in the world. So the argument is that without the first and second generation of K-pop, BTS wouldn't even exist and be as popular as they are today. However, absolutely no one is denying that these big first and second generation K-pop acts helped BTS become a group because the members were part of the idol training system, and without it, they wouldn't even have met. But it was not because of the K-pop system that BTS became global artists. If this was the case, other bigger groups at the time with way more resources should have become global instead of them. BTS became global artists because they and their almost bankrupt label were rejected opportunities in the K-pop industry, and they were forced to find their own out-of-the-norm creative ways to promote themselves. The first and second generation helped BTS exist as a group, but they didn't pave the way because they didn't make it easier for BTS or anyone else in K-pop to enter the Western music market. They actually made it more difficult. This is why all the previous K-pop groups who attempted to enter the Western music market failed, and after their failures, no other K-pop group tried to enter too, including BTS. BTS accidentally entered the Western music market because their music and personalities became popular on Twitter and YouTube, a way of promotion that K-pop acts didn't seriously consider before. This should be enough proof that the second generation of K-pop didn't pave the way. They actually destroyed the way because no one dared to walk through that road again. Now, thanks to BTS, the way is paved and K-pop groups have multiple opportunities to promote in the US. The second argument against is that Psy paved the way because Gangnam Style was a global hit, so he made K-pop be known globally. However, that is not paving the way. Gangnam Style was huge, but his musical career didn't see much growth in the Western and global music industry. He was invited to American award shows, morning shows, late night shows, and he even had collaborations with Western artists. So he was the first in doing many things, but he didn't make it easier for other K-pop acts to debut in America. The general public knew Gangnam Style, but many didn't even know his name or the country he was from. Psy said, there were even people who thought my name was Gangnam Style. Some people overseas would say, hi Gangnam Style. Some did get to know about K-pop because of him, but since his future singles decreased in popularity amongst the general public, he stopped being invited to all of these shows. He was considered a one-hit wonder and a funny phenomenon that will disappear after some time, and that was what happened. And I know that racism and xenophobia played a big role in his downfall. example, so I don't think we should blame him at all. It's not that Psy didn't want to pave the way for others, it's that Psy couldn't pave the way. But K-pop fans can be mad about his situation while also not inventing a story of success and paving the way, discrediting BTS, the actual ones who paved the way, especially when BTS in 2017 also faced similar hardships and were also considered a weird phenomenon that will disappear after some time. The difference is that they kept growing because they were actually gaining fans, and these fans helped BTS win awards, perform on TV, sell their albums in American stores, and sell out stadiums. This made K-pop be known by the general public and actually be part of the American music industry, not just a funny guest. So Psy is the closer BTS can get of a Korean senior, but he didn't really experience BTS's level of popularity as artist, and he doesn't really know what it's like to help your country's music industry be part of pop culture conversations. BTS had to and did figure out by themselves how to stay in the worldwide music industry, and that's how they paved the way for others. They made the way easier to walk through, and they can give advice on how to do it, since it's a road they paved by themselves.
Oh man, that's interesting. That's interesting. I do agree. Remember, before I even watched this video, I told you in the first 2 minutes, I made that same example. I was like, the guy's Psy. Like, I used to think his name was Gangnam Style. I never knew his name was Psy until I really got into like reviewing these videos, and I saw he did a song with, I think it was Suga. I think he did a song with Suga, I think it was Suga. That's when I learned his name was Psy. Believe it or not, I know it's embarrassing, but I never knew his name wasn't Gangnam Style. She's absolutely right. Everyone in America, when I heard that song, I thought his name was Gangnam Style. I thought, because you know, a lot of artists in America, they'll debut a big song with their name in there, especially something like that. But again, I don't know what album that was on. I don't know any of his music. I've never heard any of his music. I've never, like I said, the only reason I know about another song is because Suga was on it and someone said it in the comments and I looked it up and I didn't listen to it, but I saw it and I was like, I might review this one day. But that's it. You can't say someone paved the way if they got one song that people know. Even if it's the 5 billion song on YouTube, even if it's a global iconic song, if that's the only song you have that people worldwide know and no one even knows your name and you're not paving the way. It's not easier for Korean artists to get on in America because of Psy. How could it be easier if we don't even know your name? And they don't invite, like legends, they invite to award shows like the Grammys and stuff like that. They'll invite you every year. You know the Scammy's good for using people. I mean, Grammys, they really good for using people. So to be honest with you, like, no, there's no way you could pave the way. And in the second generation, how could you pave the way? You can start it. I love her example. It's like building a road. You might have found a trail to walk down, but is it easy for me to walk down that trail if it's a bunch of dirt and plastic and broken glass everywhere? But if someone else comes along and they walk the same trail, but they lay down cement, and now when I walk as another generation behind it, oh, it's smoother, it's easier, it's safer, it's more acceptable. That's paving the way. Discovering it doesn't do that. I think people get offended because the other groups didn't have as much success. And that's how it is with life. It's like that with sports. Just like you look at basketball today. That's another example. You got all these old guys mad because they're not making the money that these younger guys, but that was what you did. You built the brand up for them. You paved the way. You made basketball that exciting to where now these guys can make money, but you can't be resentful of that, and the fans can't be resentful of that and say, oh, what about, no, we respect them, but they paved the way. But the guys in the 50s and 60s, you can't say, oh, they paved the way. No, they played the game. They played. It was cool. The 90s and the 80s paved the way for what's going on now. The 70s, the 60s, the 50s, it was cool to watch, but is it the NBA? No, it's just like this. Those other groups, I can't tell you one of them. I can't tell you one of them. I don't know any of those groups they put up. But I can tell you, I know this generation, BTS, Blackpink, I know the Stray Kids, Baby Monster, all the next generations, Twice, 17. Like, we know them. Why do we know them? It's because of what these guys did, and then we was like, oh, well, are there other groups like this? That's paving the way. That's making it easier. You go into the Grammys, you go on the Billboard, you getting #1 hits on the Billboard. Oh, it can be done. Makes it easier. If they put out good music, they can get the same opportunities. BTS can't say that they did that from them. No one even knows those people. Now, and no disrespect. Without them, like they said, there wouldn't be no idol training program. But how can you say they paved the way if there was no way for them to pay? Like, they had to find their own market, and they had to find their own sound. They had to go do lives. That's really, really hard groundwork. Whereas these girls today and these guys today, they just get with a big label, they train for a couple years, and boom, you got guys getting Louis deals, you got girls getting Louis deals, and off their hard work. So it's like, that's paving the way. That's making it easier. Being brand and back. That what they did was cool and it's respected, but it's not paving the way.
The third argument against is that BTS only paved the way for the American music market and that we shouldn't prioritize their American achievements when other countries exist. I think this argument comes from people with little knowledge in the music industry. Whether we like it or not, the American music industry is the biggest music market in the world. Its value is more than 2 times bigger than Japan's, the second biggest music market. And not only that, but unlike other countries, America creates a chain reaction. The biggest artists in the United States have high chances to also be big in other countries, including Japan and the other big markets. But the biggest artists in Japan are big in Japan only. Of course, there are a few exceptions, but even those exceptions don't change the fact that you won't listen to the biggest artists from Japan, Germany, and France, in the US, in Latin America, or in every Asian country. The only music market that can do this is the one of the United States. This is why Billboard has 2 global charts, a global chart which includes the US and other global chart which excludes the US, because the United States carries the global music industry numbers. The funny thing is that BTS charts well in both the global charts including the US and the global charts excluding the US. This is why BTS paved the way not only for the American music market, but also for the global music market. BTS is huge in all of these countries, not just South Korea and the United States. They are the biggest artists, not group artists, in Japan's Spotify. They sold out Wembley Stadium twice in the UK. They are the only Korean act to have #1 albums in Germany. They are the only Korean group to sell out Stade de France. And this also happens in other countries with smaller music markets. It was only after BTS performed in Saudi Arabia when K-pop groups decided to also perform in Saudi Arabia. BTS paved the way for K-pop to have some visibility in every country of the world. Thanks to them, K-pop has grown everywhere, and there are now K-pop festivals around the world, and K-pop albums are more easily distributed everywhere.
We're truly honored to be on this stage with such amazing, tremendous artists right over here.
Another argument against is that each group has paved their own way. And what people say about this is that K-pop idols worked very hard on passing all the auditions they had as part of the idol training system, and they practiced a lot to strengthen their talents and get their achievements. Again, that is not paving the way. Paving the way is making it easier for others to do something. So if I say XYZ group paved their own way, I'm saying XYZ group made it easier for themselves to be known in the global music industry. And this is just not true, because the road is already paved. So how did they make it easier for themselves and others? I could argue the complete opposite. I could say that BTS were the only ones who paved their own way, and this has to do with BTS's musical influences and hardships. If you really want to attribute BTS's path to someone else, attribute it to the artists that actually inspired their music, art, and movement, which is Black music, genres like hip-hop and R&B, dance styles like breakdance, legendary rappers and singers who take pride in writing their own songs, who like talking about their personal struggles and experiences. This is not to say that K-pop hasn't also been inspired by Black music.
In my DNA,
K-pop may sound and look like black music, but the purpose of the genres got lost. With some exceptions, of course, K-pop groups are not inspired by these genres anymore. They don't pay for the samples they use, and they don't recognize the musicians who are actually composing their music. They just want the aesthetic. This is why there are many K-pop rappers wanting to look like Rihanna, but not even knowing what genre she does. On the other hand, BTS have been actual fans of hip-hop artists since they were kids, and they were actually inspired by them. This is why they've always paid homage to their influences by mentioning their idols in songs, paying for the samples they use, and crediting them, showing their pictures in concerts, and even making documentaries featuring them and their voices. All of this while also prioritizing their own message, lyricism, and creative ways. BTS took the basics of these genres to express their own voices and create their own unique path in the music industry. This is how you pave your own way. BTS didn't have the platform, but they had the talent, determination, creativity, and real love for music. For a K-pop group to pave their own way, they will have to walk through a path they paved by themselves, and that's not what they're doing. They only take the opportunities that BTS gave them. Finally, the last argument against the idea that BTS paved the way is that they actually opened the door and closed it, or that they paved the way for themselves and then closed the road for everyone else. They say this is because BTS's popularity is so big that no matter how hard others try, K-pop acts will always be in the shadows of BTS. And I believe that can be true, but only when you treat the road as a way to instant BTS level of success. The road BTS paved is not a road to be BTS. It's a road to have visibility in the global music market, but you still need to work hard to create your own artistic identity. The road is paved, but you still need to run. In other words, K-pop now has visibility in the Western music industry because K-pop groups now get invited to American TV and award shows. They now have American tours and albums on Target shelves, but they still need to make themselves different from BTS because the best at being BTS are BTS, and no matter how hard K-pop tries, they won't beat them. This is why the K-pop group's attempts of being recognized as the next BTS try so hard to have the exact same achievements BTS had. They want to get the exact same records. And again, that is treating the road as a way to BTS's level of popularity, not as an opportunity to have visibility in the global music market. But there are some who do understand what this new road BTS gave them is about.
They paved the way. You have to admit, they paved the way.
The majority of K-pop acts don't really say anything at all about BTS's popularity and the opportunities they gave them. It should be obvious, but they act like BTS doesn't exist or like they are just another K-pop group. This has something to do with their labels' control on them and their image. However, there are some who do admit that BTS paved the way for them, and the ones who say it simply take the opportunity that BTS gave them, say thank you, and move on with their careers. They know that competing against BTS is useless, so they do their best to use the global platform BTS gave them to showcase their talents. Starting with the founder of K-pop, Seo Taiji. 25 years had to pass for Seo Taiji to recognize another socially conscious Korean artist he could pass the torch to and proclaim as his successor. In 2017, Seo Taiji asked BTS to remake his classic Come Back Home and told them, "This is your generation now." Another popular group from the first generation is Shinhwa. When talking about Korean entertainment agencies and the difficulty in balancing promotions in Korea and in the US, a member from Shinhwa said,
물론 이런 모든 고정관념을 깬 게 저는 BTS라고 봐요. 그래서 이제 저도 생각이 좀 바뀌고 있긴 한데 그래도 BTS한테 조금 이제 원하는 거. 그래도 한국 팬들을 가끔 생각을 해주셔서.
Rain, another singer from the first generation, appeared on a show where the interviewer said that the BTS promoted in the US thanks to Rain, but he responded, "They became successful because they worked really hard on their own. It has nothing to do with me." Some K-pop fans say that the second generation paved the way, including groups like Wonder Girls. But this was what Sungmi from Wonder Girls said in 2019. In an interview she had for Billboard, a K-pop journalist tried to credit this group for the increased global popularity of K-pop. The interviewer said, "It's partially because of the groundwork laid by you and Wonder Girls." But Sungmi responded, "No, BTS." Yubin, another member from Wonder Girls, also said that since they also promoted in the American music industry, she feels more sympathy and pride for BTS because it was really difficult when Wonder Girls tried to enter that industry. After Beast, a second generation group, was noticed in a foreign country, someone asked if it was because of K-pop, but a member of the group responded, "No, thanks to BTS." K-pop singer Ailee also said, "We K-pop artists are really proud of them because we know how hard it is to make it in the industry. The fact that they opened up this door doors and cleared the way for us. It's a huge hope for us. Singling out BTS, Psy said BTS achieved Gangnam Style's unfulfilled dreams since they got permanence and persistence, as well as 6 #1 songs in the US, while Psy's highest peak was #2. Moving on to the third generation, the K-pop group Card said that the reason why they are receiving such a pleasant response overseas is because their sunbase or seniors, BTS, have paved the way really well. One member also said, "There's so many things we can learn from them, so we're looking towards them with respect." I feel that BTS has created a genre of their very own. Members from Astro, SF9, and 17 had also said that they have a lot to learn from BTS, referencing how BTS's achievements in the West helped them. The group Big Ten said, "Back then, there was no precedent like this. It was something that could only be imagined. BTS went to the Billboard Music Awards and achieved a great result. So we thought, wow, it's something that's actually possible. It seems to have made us work a bit harder." A member from G-Idol said, "Since BTS did help and introduce so many people to so many artists, we're influenced by them too. We would like to also strive for a similar path." A member from Monsta X said, "They really paved the way for us and other K-pop acts. They made way for us to participate in the United States music industry. I don't know if we'd be able to do the things we're doing right now without them." Another member said, "BTS paved the way, so I think it's been a little smoother for us." A member from Luna said, "We got a lot of attention only because of our samba names, BTS, who paved the way for K-pop."
BTS. Yes.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of famous groups. I mean, it's not really much to say. If you got all of those famous groups saying the same thing, obviously we know it's true. I know the biggest problem I see with other fan groups from my little channel and from me seeing like the comments, I just think it's a lot of resentment. I just think like other groups, they want their fandoms and their groups to be as big as them, and they just get a little jealous sometimes. But there's a good group of people who come on, man, it's common sense. These guys literally, when you go #1 on Billboard and you're not from America, and you're not only Latin America, like Cuban, like the Latin pop, that type of stuff, like what's a good example? I would say like Anita, Jennifer Lopez, stuff like that. Pitbull, Bad Bunny. If you're not like Latin trap or like Latin pop, Latin rap, like Daddy Yankee, Pitbull, like that type of stuff, because it's a big Latin population in America. So it's like, if you're not one of them or like American, you're not really gonna go #1 consistently. And for them to have all of these #1s, have all these awards, get invited, like, bro, you can think it's not that important, and you only say it's not that important because you wish your group could. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. A lot of these people say, "Oh, you idolizing the American. That's not important." Well, why are so many people trying to get there? Why are you mad that they did it and you didn't? And if it's so easy and your music is just so much better, just go do it. But you don't outsell them in Korea. You don't outsell them in Japan. You don't outsell in America. You cannot be mad that people love people so much. I tell people that all the time. You can't be mad that people love you. I'm gonna be honest, man. The more and more I hear, the more and more it's like, yeah, it's not even close. By far, they paved the way. It's like, it's not even close.
I would say they definitely open up the gate for everybody in the industry, K-pop. I would say
They're legends. They paved the way. You have to admit, they paved the way. Anyway, mad respect to BTS.
진짜 사실 미국 쪽에는 저희가 이렇게 K-팝이 인기가 있어질 거라고 생각을 못했어요. 근데 이렇게 이제 방탄소년단 선배님들께서 먼저 이렇게 열어주셔가지고 저희도 조금 더 알릴 수 있는 기회가 되지 않을까 싶어서 되게 감사하고 저희도 더 미국 활동을 해보고 싶다는 생각도 하게 됐어요.
Helena Kosinski, the vice president at Nielsen, an information and data measurement firm, said BTS opened the floodgates for K-pop and that BTS makes K-pop become a mainstream trend on the global market. South Korea's culture minister praised BTS for providing a way forward to K-pop. The vice president and chief operating operating officer of the Korea Creative Content Agency, stated K-pop has skyrocketed since BTS's popularity surged, creating jobs not only for BTS and their team, but other K-pop idols as well. And the then president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in, said that BTS are the pride and future of South Korean culture, and named them as the special presidential envoy for future generations and culture. Also, when talking about innovative strategies to communicate directly with fans, he said BTS paved the way.
Here we go. Who doesn't
So there are
accept it?
definitely a lot of K-pop acts who give BTS their credit, but like I said, there are many who don't. These are usually K-pop acts being pushed to be the next BTS. And what they like to do is mention goals like Billboard and Grammys, but only crediting second-generation groups as their inspiration, or even saying that they are the ones paving the way for others.
We had other artists that's been going overseas and doing what we're doing. So I guess we grew up watching them, thinking, we wish to be the group that opens up the door for more
Other foreign artists too.
to spread their music.
But still, the majority mention other groups that inspire their goals and don't address BTS at all, even when these goals were only achieved by BTS. So why is it so difficult to accept it?
방탄소년단.
BTS.
BTS.
I don't really like the "they are just jealous" response because it can be seen as a lazy response. But in this case, I really believe it all comes down to that one reason: jealousy. In the case of K-pop fans, the majority of the ones who deny that BTS paved the way were fans of the second generation of K-pop, who feel that saying that BTS paved the way for K-pop erases the second generation's achievements. And like I said, as hurtful as it is, BTS gave K-pop opportunities that the first and second generation couldn't. But the jealousy also comes from K-pop groups and labels who have been privileged their entire careers. No matter how much of a mess the group is, the groups on the big three are guaranteed to have a successful career. This is why the biggest groups before BTS were always from the big three. Nowadays, the groups from the big three have the same impact as they had before BTS's global popularity, but they are nothing in the global music market when compared to BTS. And this hurts the big three even more because BTS and their label used to be nobodies compared to these agencies. Even until this day, the three biggest K-pop labels have a crazy amount of power in the Korean entertainment industry. They basically run most K-pop platforms, TV networks, and media in general, giving their K-pop groups the advantage of having more screen time, more positive reviews, more news coverage about them. This is why BTS, even with all the money they've contributed to their label and South Korea's economy, are still to this day being banned, lied about, and sabotaged by the industry. It's not just about money, it's about power. BTS and therefore HYBE have a lot of money, but they don't have the power. They don't have connections with Korean TV networks and media like these other Korean entertainment agencies do. BTS are the biggest group in the world, but the news cover their achievements the least amount of times they can because it doesn't benefit them.
보도가 돼요. 그러면 우리가 흔히 알고 있는 소위 대형 기획사의 아이돌이 그것보다 사실은 못 미치는 어떤 활약을 보였을 때 미디어에 보도되는 양이나 그 커버되는 범위를 보시면 확연히 차이가 납니다. 재밌는 부분이고
실제 그렇구나.
실제로 그렇다는 것이 저도 이제 알게 됐어요. 그런 것들이 이미 팬들 사이에서는 잘 알려져 있고 이번 그래미 같은 경우 어떻게 들어가냐면 주요 부문에서 등극에 실패했다라고 한다든지 대체적으로 그런 경향이
아무리 마이너 장르라도 그래미 후보에 올랐다고 하지.
So K-pop labels and sometimes their K-pop groups refuse to accept that BTS paved the way because they couldn't, even when they had all the power and money from the start to do it. They are jealous that 7 nobodies from a nobody agency grew bigger than them, so they refuse to accept reality. This attitude from K-pop groups is also reflected in the way it's become harder for BTS to find friendly people in the industry.
근데 이제 그때부터 이제 친구도 없고 이러다 보니까
친구가 없어요.
네, 핸드폰이 이 전화번호 목록을 찾아보면 연예인 친구가 10명이 안 돼요.
진짜?
대부분 사람들도 이제 저희 부담스럽다고 보통 친구로도 잘 안 놀아주더라고요.
진짜?
And you can show me all the K-pop groups on the big three interacting with BTS, but almost none of these compilations feature interactions with BTS after the real global massive success. It used to be fun when BTS were nobodies or just the biggest in K-pop, but now that BTS is the biggest group in the world, K-pop labels envy that, and they don't want their groups to interact or even mention them. This is why BTS's friends from the industry are mostly indie artists who are not trying to compete against BTS. I really don't like the way it has become controversial to say that BTS paved the way, because if you really think about it, it's not that big of a deal. The phrase doesn't imply that BTS are better than every other K-pop group, and although I actually believe they are the best group ever, you can't think the complete opposite and still be able to agree with me, because the phrase only means that BTS gave opportunities for K-pop to be recognized globally. So learn a little from BTS and pay tribute to the ones who help you be where you are today. And if you don't want to mention them at all, that's also fine. Just don't be delusional and jealous. K-pop fans, as well as K-pop labels and groups, shouldn't be hurt by the fact that BTS paved the way. It's not an insult to your group. It's a sea full of opportunities to be seen and recognized in the worldwide platform BTS created.
I'll say two things, man. One, BoraCity is a class act. I'll just go ahead and say it for her. Listen, I know the argument's lazy, but the truth is the truth. It's jealousy. You got to think about it. I just told you. I be seeing all of these numbers, and I'm just keeping it a buck. This channel knows I'm real. This channel knows I love Blackpink. Let's just use them as an example. I love Jennie, I love Rose, I love Jisoo, I love Lisa. The average person in America don't know who the hell these people are. I'm telling you. I would say this, if you go to the average fan of music, because I've done this with my friends. I've done this. I've done it with black friends, I've done it with white friends, I've done it with even, I would just say everyone but non-Asians. Everyone but Asians, I mean. I would say, yo, have you ever heard of BTS? Yeah, I heard of them before. You ever heard their music? Nah, I don't listen to their music like that. All right, I play them the music and they like it. So, hey, you ever heard of Stray Kids? You ever heard of Blackpink? You ever heard of Lisa? Ever heard of Jennie? Who? And then someone be like, recently they like, oh, the girl who got the song with Doechii? Yeah. Because again, what fandoms do is, and again, the BTSArmy is a credit to this too. If we're gonna be fair. If someone says, again, the best example I can use is, if someone says, oh yeah, I know them because they featured on this song. Oh, they're 10 times bigger than them on Spotify and they have more streams. This is what I want to challenge you guys to say. And I think it's hilarious when they say this about American music. American music sells way more than Korean music, just being perfectly honest. Go look at guys' individual album sales. Go look at the top rappers' individual album sales. I'm talking about, and now of course, sometimes they manipulate it with vinyls, but I know it's a lot of people that don't. So for instance, I'll just use two examples. If you look at, or three, the three guys that I've heard that BTS talk about, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and my guy, Drake. Okay, cool. Go look at their individual album sales compared to Korean groups. You're talking about guys who sell, Drake has 2 diamond albums and 2 more are going diamond within 3 years. That's 4 albums of 10 million plus. That's just 4 albums at 10 million apiece. He has so many albums at 7, 8, 6. Kendrick Lamar has 5 million, 7 million, 8 million, 6 million, 8 million, 5 million. J. Cole the same way. That's a level of success like that these other groups don't, even BTS. I don't even think BTS got albums that sold like that. They probably got all together, but I'm just saying that's why people in America look for features, and that's what they're trying to do. You see, BTS is so known that they're a global name now. They're one of the top 20. Every time I see a list of top 20 groups all the time, or top 20 groups currently, or top 20 artists in the world, they're always in there. You know why Blackpink not in there? You know why Stray Kids not in there? Go look at the album sales. You can say it's chart manipulation. No, you're not selling the way other people are selling. Yes, you can tour in cities and sell out stadiums. Okay, great. But if you can bring 50, 60,000 people to a stadium, 40,000 people to a stadium, why can't you get those 40, 50,000 people to stream your music every day like BTS? Why can't you get those guys to create groups to stream your music? And when you have a release, help drop. Because that's what these other guys do. They stream their music consistently. BTS definitely paved the way in all I'm saying. BTS paved the way. It's not even close. I don't have to know all of the history to know that. I've never heard of a group before them. I don't know any history about anyone before them except the history of me now getting into it. Now I know about the the older groups, the first generations and the second generation. I know that, bro. Think about my whole channel. Most K-pop group reactions are because of BTS. Think about that. Let's think about that for a moment. Most K-pop reaction channels, 90% of all the K-pop reaction channels from Americans are more than half BTS. Don't believe me? Go look at the top reactors. It's 80% BTS content, 70% BTS content. Even this channel, you guys know I do a hefty amount of BTS. But I would say on my channel specifically, it's probably about 60% BTS and 40% mix. I don't want to go into the, it's a BTS channel because I want to give everyone a chance. But the hefty amount of videos are BTS because you have to give the people what they want. If I have a channel and I have 7,400 subscribers and 5,000 of them are saying we like the BTS content more than you do the Indian, then I'm going to do more BTS content. If the XG fans and the Stray Kids fans and the Blackpink fans, if you want people to review your stuff more, you want the word getting out there, well, you got to give people views. You got to give them comments. The Army does that. That's paving the way because it's giving you opportunities to get your music out there. I see some Blackpink pages where they get 100,000 views and 200. That's because of these guys. That's paving the way. I don't think Blackpink's paving the way for anybody. Don't get me wrong, they're famous and they're cool, but you see the solo careers of what they're doing now? Go look at those charts. It's not as good as the Blackpink music. I don't see, like I said, Rose, #1. We all know why that song #1. Because of Bruno Mars. You can, and the fans can think whatever they want. Bruno Mars is currently sitting up #2 right now with Lady Gaga. Probably gonna get #1 soon. Bruno Mars lives on the Billboard at #1. And I'm gonna be honest, that song could be as good as it wanted to be, but without Bruno Mars, my humble opinion, that song would not be doing what it's doing now. And I'm just being honest because if Rose puts out another song, I don't know if it's gonna go #1. I don't know if it's gonna go top 10. I don't know that. I guarantee you if you ask the average fan in America, what's Rose's last album? They wouldn't know. Give me 5 of her last singles. You wouldn't know. But if I said, give me Bruno Mars, give me 5 singles from Bruno Mars, tell me Bruno Mars, they would know. Yeah, in Korea, into their fandom, they would know, but the global stage, no, they wouldn't know. And that's what they're trying to say. It's not like that for BTS. And it's okay. It's not no disrespect. It's just giving the flowers what they do. And I give all these guys flowers. If you watch all my videos, I give Blackpink flowers, Stray Kids, XG, I give everybody flowers. I give everybody that I review flowers. Even Cat's Eye, I review one of their songs, Touch. And I said, these girls are gonna be big one day. I give everybody their flowers. So I'm telling you the truth. No one really knows these other groups. Like I said, they know them by name. They know most of these girl K-pop groups from brand and being brand ambassadors for Chanel and stuff like that. They don't really know their music. I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of the Lisa music. I'm a fan of Jennie music. I'm a fan of Rose, Jisoo. I'm a fan of 17. I'm a fan of Baby Monster. I'm a fan of New Jeans. I'm a fan of Illicit. I like the music, but my friends, not so much. They don't even know who these people are, and it's okay. It's because of BTS. So with that being said, I hope my reaction gave you guys a little clarity into what an American thinks. Most Americans know that BTS paved the way. Most Americans know that without this group, we probably wouldn't even care about K-pop. It'd be still what it was a couple years, 10, 20 years ago. And that's fine. We respect those groups that came before us. But you didn't make it easier, because if you made it easier, somebody would have cracked the Western market before then. They cracked it when they cracked it. So with that being said, that's my reaction. You guys tell me in the comments, what do you think about BTS Paved the Way and why is it so hard to accept? Do you think that other K-pop groups are being shorted? Do you think that BTS paved the way? Do you think they didn't pave the way? Do you think we're disrespecting the older generations? Because I don't. I think we all mean BoraCity. We gave them their flowers. We're just saying that paving the way is making it easier. You didn't make it easier. You started it, but you didn't make it easier. You guys tell me what you think about that thought in your comments. Like, share, subscribe, and comment, and let me know, because we got another one of these hot boys coming out tomorrow. Like, share, subscribe, comment with love. Peace.